thank you all for being in this awesome building. You know, Weinberg House, it's really, it is the product of very deep partnerships with all the levels of government, quasi-government, philanthropists, sister nonprofit agencies, and because of these partnerships, it is awesome. It will be no surprise to anyone here that when we opened the waiting list, 1,000 people submitted their applications clamoring for one of only 61 apartments. The demand is huge, and sadly, there are precious few housing communities that combine the dynamic, supportive, engaging environments our seniors want with the affordability they need. So while today we celebrate both the preservation of all 209 apartments at adjacent Curlott House and the 61 new units here, we are working like crazy to expand our reach so that more older adults can age in community. We have right now 62 all-affordable apartments under construction in Brookline. In our partnership with Congregation Kehillat Israel, I think Rabbi Hamilton is here, as well as Rabbi Baker from CJP. We have already permitted another 68 affordable apartments adjacent to our Golda Meir house in Newton, and we hope with that to bring the very first 202 after a drought of 8 years back to Massachusetts. We've been lobbying hard for that, but I really have to give more credit to the governor and the mayor who have both been lobbying hard for the 202 program. So we're in that fall funding round and we hope to do it. And that one we have a partnership with New England Conservatory where their graduate students will live amongst our elders to the benefit of both. And then right here in Boston, right behind me, the Boston Housing Authority has just designated us as the redevelopers for the J.J. Carroll Apartments, where we plan to more than double the density while preserving 100% of the affordability. And I know Bill McGonigal, I saw him earlier, I believe Bill McGonigal's here. Before he retires, clap for him. So in anticipation, we've already started inviting all the JJ residents to our programs, and they have been really clear with us that they are excited to be part of our vibrant community. And for us, the additional visibility on Chestnut Hill Avenue helps us fulfill our goal of being a community resource and a hub of activities for older adults from the whole neighborhood. So since we have 8 speakers, I'm going to get right to introducing first our amazingly wonderful governor, who has demonstrated from day one his commitment to both addressing the concerns of older adults and to the very deep need for affordable housing. Now, as the most popular governor in the country, he doesn't need my compliments, so I'm just going to offer a few observations. Since coming into office, not only did he sign the largest housing bond bill in the history of the Commonwealth, right here on this very spot, he has steadily and consistently increased the bond cap, which is how you can use that money, allocated to affordable housing. It was $185 million in FY 2016. In 2020, he brought it all the way up to $237 million. That is incredibly impressive. He also filed housing choice legislation, which would make a gigantic difference in the ability of nonprofit organizations like ours to get more affordable housing built and to get it built faster to meet that crying demand. We all have to hope that gets through this year. He also created the Governor's Council to address aging in Massachusetts. I'm so privileged to serve on that council. And that council has advanced a wide range of significant recommendations, which are now being implemented amazingly aggressively to the good of all of our state's older adults. And as a result, Massachusetts is now one of the very first age and dementia-friendly states in the whole country. And on this particular project, you'd think he couldn't worry about it, but on this particular project, he personally intervened to help out when we hit a major glitch. I know everyone who lives here now recognizes and appreciates the significance of the fact that our governor did that. I certainly do. And my gratitude is as deep as my admiration, which is very deep. Governor? Yes,
So first of all, Amy, I just want to take you with me and have you introduce me everywhere I speak for the next, 3.5 years. So first of all, it's great to be here, and this really is, this was a team sport, this project. You had the involvement of the federal government, the state government, the city government, the wonderful and awesome Two Life communities, and so many other organizations that were part of making this happen. And I was at a housing event earlier today where I said that our problem in Massachusetts is not that we don't have great local community leadership and great state leaders and operators and great local nonprofit and housing developers. We do. We have all of that. And having firsthand had a chance to work with and to see a lot of the projects and a lot of the work they've done over the course of the past 4.5 years, I know that. What we don't have is enough. And over again, I've talked to my colleagues, especially in local government, and most of the rules associated with how we do housing in Massachusetts are more than 50 years old, and it is absolutely positively affecting our ability to keep up with the growth in our population, the aging in our population. Our senior community is now the fastest growing. As a 62-year-old, I happen to know this, we are now the fastest growing population in the Commonwealth, and we have got to find a way to produce more housing. And Kevin Honan has been a superstar on this issue. And we are looking forward to getting a housing production bill done this year, because I know we have great organizations, I know we have great communities and great builders and great developers and great nonprofits. What we really need more, and we have a ton of dry powder in that bond bill that we worked on. What we need is more capacity to develop more housing more quickly, and hopefully we can get that legislation done and turn this Commonwealth. We used to produce 30,000 new units of housing every year. We now produce about 8 or 10, and we've been 10,000. We've been doing that for 30 years, and we've grown our economy, we've grown our population. We have a lot to do to make sure seniors, families, young people have options, have possibilities, and can build whatever future it is they're looking to build right here in an affordable way in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But mostly, today I just want to say to Amy and the rest of the team, congratulations. This is a great project. It was always a great project. I'm sorry there was a bump or two along the way. But in your own inimitable style, which I found to be subtle and indirect, you managed to find a way to get it done, and we're thrilled. Thank you.
Mayor Walsh has certainly set a high standard for leadership on the affordable housing issue. Early on in his term, he brought together a broad-based group of community members and organizations. I was very proud to serve on that group, to create a bold, meaningful strategy for the city's needs, which culminated in Housing a Changing City, Boston 2030. The plan set aggressive goals and a series of mechanisms to achieve them, and the mayor has ever since been putting his money, his resources, talent where his mouth is, so to speak. This project is one of many examples of his great strategy. First, this was once vacant city-owned land. The plan suggested that become available for affordable housing, so he did that. Every year, the mayor has put serious city dollars into the budget to support affordable housing development in every neighborhood of the city. And since the plan identified seniors as the fastest growing and most economically challenged demographic, the Housing 2030 funding rounds have set senior and supportive housing as a priority. Plan also recognized the increasing in homelessness of older adults. The city has a very complex and important initiative, and we're very proud to be the very first one to be part of that initiative, with 7 set-aside units for chronically homeless older adults here. Our partner on that is Hearth. It's represented here today by Ellen Feingold, a founding board member and my very special, lovely predecessor. You know, a quick aside, when Ellen helped found Hearth, it was because at the time, can you believe it, HUD wouldn't allow us here to house homeless seniors, and so they formed Hearth. So imagine her joy today in seeing the 2 strands of her work finally come together. In addition to all this housing work, Boston's Age Strong Commission is probably the best in class for the entire country. It leads the way for Boston to be a pioneer in the age-friendly city movement, ever-responsive staff and programs. And as a result of their clever work with elders, the mayor initiated just recently and testified, I believe yesterday, a just cause eviction legislation, which would prohibit no-fault eviction for people over 75 and limit rent increases for them to 5% a year. This will create such an important safety net for all our community's elders who aren't living with us, who don't need it. So as Mayor Walsh comes up to address us, let me just recognize Sheila Dillon, Chief of Neighborhood Development, and Emily Shea, the Commissioner of Age Strong Boston.
Thank you very much, Amy, and I want to thank you. This is an exciting day. As the governor mentioned, building housing for affordable housing for our growing older population. I'm much younger than the governor, so I'm not as concerned about it today. But I'm only 52, so I want to make sure that before I'm done in public life, we can take care of the governor so he has a place to stay. So I'm really worried about that. I want to make sure. So, but I want to. There's a lot of people to thank, and I know. Let me start by thanking the community that's here today. First of all, thank you for your incredible work. Thank you for your patience. Thank you to all the providers and the funders and everyone who had anything to do with this project. It was amazing. I want to give a shout out to the governor, seriously, for his commitment to housing and the bond bill, along with Representative Honan, passing that bond bill and so many other vehicles they use. I want to thank the governor's team that's here today. When you look at the team that the governor has here today, this is his top administration that's here today. And you think about housing, it's about job creation, it's about health and human services, it's about making sure people feel good, and I want to thank them all for their incredible work. I want to thank the elected officials in this neighborhood. Kevin is certainly the chairman of housing at the State House, but he's also the representative in this neighborhood, and he cares deeply about housing, not just for Allston, Brighton, but for the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Mike Moran, I know, is on his way here. I want to thank Representative Moran for his leadership, Council Siomo as well for his leadership, and I want to, today I was at a meeting with some providers in the City Council chamber that Councilor George put together that was talking about homelessness. And if we don't build more of this, we're going to have a bigger issue on the homeless side. And I want to thank the councilor as well for her leadership in that area. To my team, Emily Shea, Sheila Dillon, Billy McGonigal, Kate Bennett, Brian Golden, thank you all for what you do. I am blessed, as the governor is with his team. We are blessed. We get to stand up here and smile and cut the ribbon, but really it's the people that are with us every day that do the work that make the wheels run on the train, on the bus, whatever you want to call it. It's so important that we move forward. Congratulations to everyone here on the new homes. It's great to see the Harry and Jeannette Weinberg house becoming a reality. We were here just 2 years ago for the groundbreaking out back, and we knew the impact that this building would have, and it doesn't seem like 2 years ago, but it's been great watching this building grow. And in the very beginning, it was a little slow, and then when it just shot up after that, and I've been out in this neighborhood a lot, and I've driven by this building a lot, and I've watched this come to fruition, and it's great to see what 61 new affordable homes for seniors look like, with all the supports they need to be comfortable and independent. Retail space to create opportunities for the neighborhood, amenities and programs on 2 life campuses. It's supportive. The design is supportive and thoughtful, both inside and outside. It's more than an apartment. It's a quality of life. It's a social connection, and it's certainly a community. I'm proud of the commitment of both the city and the state here, and every senior deserves to be safe and live in a welcoming place. And that's our job. We're not here to get accolades about us working together or working at all. That's our job to do every day, and it's great to see that. Boston is a city that's home for everyone, no matter what your age, your race, your income. That's the goal of our housing plan here in the city of Boston. And when we worked with the Metro Mayors Coalition, that was the goal of the Metro Mayors as well, to think about how do we do this. And the governor's legislation is going to help move that number of 185,000 units of new housing in the region forward, to give us the tools we need. So it is important that we continue to advocate for legislation and continue to work together. True Life Communities is one of the most trusted senior housing providers in Boston, and I can honestly say this, and I think the governor can probably say the same thing. We hear a lot of complaints about different things, kind of the complaint of the day.
The hour.
The complaint of the hour. One of the things that's consistent, since I've been the mayor, and I know since he's been the governor, is we go to an event, and you come across a senior, whether they live in Boston or somewhere else, and their concern is that they're gonna be evicted out of their home, or they're gonna lose their housing, and they have no place to go, and they don't wanna be a burden to their family. And it's important for us that we continue to remember that. Amy's team is working every day to make sure that those stories become fewer and fewer and fewer. And we commit to you today that we're gonna continue to do the work we have to do to make sure that those stories become non-existent. That's really important for us. So thank you to everybody. I have to just give a couple more shout outs. Mass Housing, I have to give a shout out to Mass Housing. Thank you, Mass Housing. Thank you, Crystal. To Wells Fargo, thank you, Wells Fargo. And to the Weinberg Foundation, thank you. Without you three, we could not have done this. Thank you.
Now, another key partnership here is with the Department of Developmental Services within the Executive Office of Health and Human Services. As we started to plan this building, we learned of a new need of older adults aging with lifelong developmental disabilities who were outliving the appropriateness of their housing and needed specialized age-friendly services. We leapt at the chance to be the pilot for a partnership model of integration into a larger older adult community, and so we have 5 apartments set aside here for those clients with our special partners, Diane Gould representing advocates here. It's been working out great. Now initially, I was at this point going to call up Secretary Mary Lou Sutters to talk about the partnership, but true to form, she said, oh no, I would like to let one of the people in those units have the first shot. So we're going to be beginning this part with Jim Coase, who's welcome and offered to talk about his experience.
Okay. Well, thank everybody for coming. I haven't seen so many people in a long time, so it's so much like this. But I got a few words to say. Good afternoon, my name is Jim. I'm proud to be here at the Weinberg House. And I'm so happy to be here today and grateful to have the chance to thank all of you person who had a role in my forever home. And I grew up in Boston, Brookline. I have never been able to go to bed comfortably somewhere, then left me feeling comfortable and safe. But I've been from foster homes, group homes, state hospitals, nursing homes. I could say I bounced around like a bouncing ball. Because of this, I know I am the right person to be here expressing my thanks for what you've been able to provide me. I love it here. The staff is amazing and caring. I feel safe and comfortable. I'm even looking forward to making some friends. I am excited to spend some time in a new coffee shop, if it ever opens. With my case manager, Marilyn, when it finally opens. I used to live in downtown Boston, but it was too noisy. It's so quiet here, peaceful. I've been waiting for a long, long time to find someone that felt like home, like my forever home. On Saturday, I will be turning 66 years old.
Hoorah!
It's my birthday, okay? That I will be spending feeling hopeful for where I am and what to come. Thank you so much for Governor Baker, Mayor Walsh, True Life Communities, and everybody else who made this possible. Thank you so, so much. This is amazing, this is wonderful.
So now I have the the privilege of introducing Secretary Mary Lou Setters, but when I looked at her resume and her experiences, she had too many accomplishments, and I didn't know how to pick just 2 or 3 out of the 300. So instead, I'm going to just tell you a little story, a personal story. Both the governor I mentioned, there were some pretty big glitches in the development process here, and there was one day I was just at the end of my rope. I felt incredible despair. So at midnight on a Friday night, I wrote an email to Mary Lou Setters. I thought, okay, she'll read it Monday midday, and by the end of the week, maybe I'll hear back from her. Oh no. I turned to my computer Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Not only had she already set in motion the response to fix the thing, she made the commitment then and there to follow it through, and she's checked in constantly until it was solved. That is public service. Remember that? Secretary Setters also co-chairs the Governor's Council to address aging in Massachusetts, and she has been just an incredibly inspiring leader in that role. First, she schlepped us all over the state to listen to constituents, which I think is her trademark. Then she organized our work to come up with really exciting set of recommendations. Then she shepherded those through magnificently to make them into implementation. She had some great staff. Robin Lipson's here, I know, helped staffing her on that. And of course, we're so excited about new Elder Affairs Secretary Elizabeth Chen joining now, because we're so happy to have her on board. And now, Secretary Setters.
Oh, I didn't do it. So what she didn't tell you is I responded to her email at 4:45 a.m. the next morning. I still have that email, but that was, this is what we do. Jim, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Your birthday's Tuesday?
No,
Saturday. Oh, tomorrow? 2 days from now? All right. So you and I are really close. You and I are both Cancer with Leo risings, because mine's Monday, and I turn 65, so happy birthday, my friend. So you better make sure I have happy available. You better.
Hey, your mother's birthday is on the same day as my birthday. That's amazing.
Yes, us July babies.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So, thank you for having me. Extraordinary celebration. Jim, this is your forever home, and you will get the service and supports you need so you feel safe, have community, and have coffee, apparently someday.
I can't wait till it opens up.
Apparently not. So to life, L'Haim, age affordably, live well, Boston, age strong. Because that's what all of us want, is to be part of community, to feel safe, have a place to come home, but not just to come home and close the door and be safe, but know that there are people around you who are your friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
To Amy Scheckman, so the truth of the matter is the reason I schlep people all around the Commonwealth of Massachusetts on the Governor's Council of Optimal Aging is to exhaust them. Not really. It is to listen, and to listen hard to what the needs of our communities are, so that whatever we do at the state level is responsive to local, state, community needs. To Amy, some people say that I have a lot of energy. I have to say I have met my twin. I'm serious, because when we think about what all of us want in our lives, housing is so critical to that. Because if you don't have housing, you don't have your health, it is so hard to get through a day. There is no person that I have learned more from than from Amy about how you knit all of the state, federal, local, private dollars together for extraordinary vision. Because you take all of those pieces and you see the possibilities in areas that maybe others don't. So I will always be your greatest fan on that. To the governor and to the mayor, two great partners in all of this. The governor allows us the freedom, if you will, to hover and to explore areas such as aging in our great Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And to come back to him, he gives me nothing other than to say, go and figure out what we need to do, and then we will find the path to make it happen. And housing has been one of the core pieces of the Governor's Council on Optimal Aging, as well as healthcare, transportation, and economic security. So we will find that way going forward. As a social worker, I do believe actually in sort of making connections. So when you emailed me that night, all I did, as the governor was whispering to me, was I just sort of hover over things to make them happen. So thank you for having me. Thank you for this. When I do retire, and you need a housing, manager, let me know. I'm really good at that. And the mayor has promised that he'll make sure I have a place in a few years to live. So truly, from my heart to yours, congratulations, Lahaim.
So, as you can see, the governor really knows how to pick cabinet members. So I'm thrilled that we're also joined by Secretary Keneally here today. Since assuming his role recently, he has made housing a top priority. And talk about schlepping. He has traversed the state up and down, drumming up support for the housing choice legislation that's so crucial to our future. As he says, it's all about production. And he has partnered beautifully. Haven't you said that like a million times? I hear it. He's partnered beautifully with Undersecretary Jeannette Chan, who we're so happy to welcome back from maternity leave, and the whole superb DHCD team to get critical resources into community projects, and also with CDAC. I think I saw Roger Herzog here somewhere, so we want to thank them too. The Secretary's effectiveness stems from his experience in both business and government sectors. And he brings his energy and skill to both the housing and the job creation to support growth in key industries in Massachusetts and make sure we have the housing infrastructure to support that. Secretary Keneally?
Amy, thank you so much. It's great to be here today. And thank you for your incredible leadership on affordable housing. I have so enjoyed these last 7 months as Secretary, getting to know you and your team here at 2 Life, and it's wonderful to be here. I also want to acknowledge my partners in state government that have helped make this happen, Undersecretary Jeannette Chan and Kate Racer from DHCD. And of course, Crystal Carnegie from Mass Housing. And Mass Housing Partnership and CDAC and many others. If you look at that, the flyer that was on our chairs, it's sort of the menu of how these deals happen. It's really been pretty incredible to see. And also acknowledge Crystal's leadership in helping us create more workforce housing. Mass Housing will be administering the $86 million in funding the governor announced last week to create more workforce housing across the state. So wonderful to be here. I, this week, started a tour of affordable housing projects developments all across Massachusetts. We started the tour in Boston, Mr. Mayor, as we should, right? Boston, there we go, all right. And then yesterday was Haverhill and Lawrence, and today Lowell, and now here today as well. And what I've noticed, all these projects are a little bit different, but they all share some important commonalities, which is the level of creativity and collaboration you need to make this happen, and just the tenacity and passion and focus. These are complicated projects, and they require a high level of engagement and partnership by city and state and developers and community groups, and it's wonderful to see. It's wonderful to see these get conceived and get over the finish line. And it really is just fundamental to how all of us in Massachusetts, how we think and how we work and how we act and how we plan. We all work together to make great things happen. And as an administration under the governor's great leadership in housing, we'll continue to make housing production and affordability a priority. However, everything we can do and should do really won't be enough to solve our housing crisis. What we need to do, as the governor mentioned and as Amy mentioned, is empower our cities and towns with the tools they need to develop more housing to meet the needs of their communities. And we believe one of the impediments to doing so is local zoning, and a nearly 100-year-old law that requires that any rezoning decisions locally require a 2/3 vote. The governor's housing choice legislation filed in February would, for a series of best practices housing developments, lower that threshold to a simple majority. We think that will unlock housing production of all kinds all across Massachusetts. So, Amy, congratulations. Yes. And I do want to thank Chairman Honan for all the time he spent with me talking about housing these last few months. I've really enjoyed the dialogue. Thank you. And Amy, thank you for your advocacy on housing choice as well. So I'll wrap it up there. Thanks to all. Congratulations to all. A wonderful development. Thank you.